For the City of Smyrna, and I'd like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, June the 14th, 2017 at 10:01 a.m. Board members present, to my left is Roy Acre, the Fire Chief, and to his left is Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works. Christiana Craddock is the Executive Assistant to the City Administrator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, and we do have some a language correction that we need to, wording that we need to change. This is a public hearing, privilege license request LIC 2017-07, beer, wine, and liquor package, 3181 South Cobb Drive, Gone and Xander, LLC, DBA package with Xander Vo as the agent. Is Mr. Vo in the room? And can you step to the podium, please? Good morning.
Good morning.
And for the record, can you state your name, please?
Xander Vo.
Okay. And Mr. Vo, you are here because of, you're going to now be the agent for this location?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you received a copy of the city's alcohol beverage ordinance?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you read it, and do you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree to abide by the ordinance?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what steps do you have in place to make sure that none of your employees sell alcohol to underage persons?
Well, I'm going to be there 24/7, well, not 24/7, but the time that the store will be open and closed.
Mm-hmm.
And we post a sign right where the employee is that the rules and stuff that you can't sell to minors. This will be my second store.
Okay.
So.
And you have another store in Smyrna?
No, I have a store in DeKalb that I just sold.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm very aware of the rules and regulations.
Okay. All right. And you have completed the prerequisite responsible alcohol beverage sales and service class?
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe we have a copy of your certificate in our packet.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Vo, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
What is your official role with the business? And before you answer, did we get that correct, just for the record? Gone and Xander, LLC, DBA South Cobb Package. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is your official role?
I am the owner, the COF,
Okay.
CEO.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the everything? Is that
Yes,
right?
yes, the slave.
So you stated just a minute ago that you're essentially working in the store all the time when it's open.
Yes, sir.
What other policies or procedures do you have training for your staff to ensure that they do not sell alcohol to minors? Other
Check
than
ID, everybody.
Okay.
Everybody have to have ID.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they don't, just kick them out of the store. Yeah,
Okay.
simple.
Do you understand that from time to time the Smyrna Police Department does undercover inquiries, and if anyone in your store does sell alcohol to a minor, that they will be taken to jail immediately?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and does your employees understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. If there are no other questions, the Smyrna Police Department did do a background investigation, and there was no information that would preclude issuance of this particular license. So with that said, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
A motion to approve privilege license request LIC 2017-07 for beer, wine, and liquor package 3181 South Cobb Drive for Gone and Xander, LLC, DBA South Cobb Package with Xander Vo as agent.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve privilege license request LIC 2017-07. All in favor, please. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is a public hearing, privilege license request LIC 2017-08, beer and wine pouring, 2772 Cumberland Boulevard, AKSM LLC, DBA Bollywood Zing Indian Bistro with Kajal Makijani as the agent. Can you step to the podium, please? And pardon me for mispronouncing your name, but for the record, can you state your name, please?
Kajal Makijani.
Okay, all right. And you have received a copy of the city's alcohol beverage ordinance?
Yes.
And have you read it, and do you understand it?
Yes.
And do you agree to abide by the ordinance?
Yes.
And what steps do you have in place at your restaurant to make sure that none of your employees sell alcohol to underage persons?
We have signs up, as well as we have all the staff trained, and we have a code of conduct for our employees, and they check for IDs. In addition to that, we do random checks ourselves.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
What's your role in the business
I'm the owner.
and your hours,
Hours
working hours that you'll have at the place of business?
We open from 12 to 3 for lunch, and then 5 to 10 for dinner.
Are you there every day, or, I mean, your hours, what are your particular hours?
I go there on weekends. My husband is also an agent, so I'm just adding myself as agent on the license.
Do you own any other restaurants, or is this your only restaurant?
The only one.
And you have received the prerequisite responsible alcohol sales class?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And we should have a copy of your certificate in our packet. And do you understand that from time to time the Smyrna Police Department will do undercover stings, and if any of your employees sell to underage persons, that they will be taken to jail immediately?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And does your employees understand that?
Yes.
Okay. If there are no other questions, the Smyrna Police Department did do a background investigation, and there was no information revealed that would preclude issuance of this particular license. So with that said, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve privilege license request LIC 2017-08 beer wine pouring 2772 Cumberland Boulevard, AKSM LLC, DBA Bollywood Zing Indian Bistro with Kahil Makihani as agent.
Second.
There's been motion and properly second that we approve privilege license request 2017-08. All in favor, please vote. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, C. IC 2017-09, beer and wine package, 4475 Windy Hill Road, ARA Chevron LLC, DBA Chevron Food Mart, with Sita Catone as the agent. Pardon me for mispronouncing your name as well. But for the record, can you please state your name?
Saida
Last name?
Khatun.
Okay, all right. And you have received a copy of the city's alcohol beverage ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. And have you received it, and do you understand, have you read it, and do you understand the ordinance? Are you going to be translating for it?
Yes, please. I'm the manager and
Okay.
also his brother, managing the whole store for her.
Okay. And for the record, can you state your name?
Saeed Rashid.
Okay. All right. And the next question is, do you agree to abide by the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And she has completed the prerequisite responsible alcohol sales class?
Yes, she did.
Okay. All right. And what steps do you have in place in your store to make sure that no employees sell alcohol to underage persons?
Well, all of our employees, basically, I work over there myself, and my cousin also works, and I have one other employee. All of us are trained to make sure that nobody gets any beer out of the store without showing the ID. And we have on the window for the customers outside, we have all customers must show ID for them to buy beer. And inside the counter, we have written for the employees, whoever running the register, that make sure check for the ID. And we have the VID sign, and we have POS system, the check date of birth.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
I had a couple. Sir, you stated that you're the brother of the applicant. Is that correct?
Yes.
So Saida, is that correct?
Yes.
Pronounce she's your sister.
Yeah.
So what is Saida's role with the business?
She's the owner.
Okay. Does she physically work there?
No.
Okay. So, I guess I'll pose this as a question. Does Saida understand that as the listed agent that would hold this privileged license, she is the one responsible?
Yes.
Okay. So if hypothetically there is a violation of alcohol sales, then not only will the employee or the person that did the sale be held responsible, you will be as well. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Has she held a license anywhere else before, or is this her first venture?
Is the business license?
No, agent.
Alcohol license? No. This is the first time.
Any other questions?
Well, one other maybe. So the owner of the store, who's the owner of the store?
I am.
And your husband or just you?
আপনার husband শুদ্ধ নিনাগালি আপনি.
Only me.
Okay. All right, thanks.
And just for Madam Chair, just for the sake of the clarity of the record, there is no provision that says if you hold the alcohol privilege license as the owner of the store that you have to work there. So you don't have to work there. I just want to make sure that she understands her responsibility, especially because she does not work there. If it were me, I would make sure, if my name were on this privilege license, I would make sure that I was comfortable with the people that I trusted that worked at the store, that they would uphold our alcohol sales laws.
Yes.
Okay.
The Smyrna Police Department did do, well, the first question, which I want to make sure that I did ask this question, that from time to time, the Smyrna Police Department does do undercover sting operations. And if any of your employees do sell to minors, they will be taken to jail immediately. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And do your employees understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There was a background investigation done by the Smyrna Police Department, and it revealed no information that would preclude issuance of this particular license. So with that said, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a
Request LIC 2017-09, beer and wine package 475 Windy Hill Road, Era Chevron LLC, DBA Chevron Food Mart, with Saida Hatoun as agent.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve privilege license request LIC 2017-09. All in favor, please vote. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a public hearing, privilege license request LIC 2017-10, beer, wine, and liquor pouring, 4490 South Cobb Drive, GI Bakery II, Incorporated, DBA Atlanta Bread Company with Carrie Nichols as the agent. And Jim Cox, our business license officer, will be making a comment about this particular item.
I contacted, on Jim Cox, business license officer, I contacted GI Bakery this morning, as we'd not gotten in touch with Ms. Nichols previously. We had tried, left word and word and word. So just to ensure she was going to be here, I called them again this morning and found out had left the company. So they wish to withdraw this application.
Okay. All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion to withdraw at the request of the applicant.
Motion to withdraw at the request of the applicant, the privilege license request LIC 2017-10.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we withdraw privilege license request 2017-10. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. V17008, allow encroachment into city's 50-foot undisturbed buffer and 75-foot impervious setback, 0.05 acres, land lot 626, 1747 Cedar Ridge Court. Miguel Christek is the applicant. Can you step to the podium, please?
Morning.
Good morning. And for the record, can you please state your name?
Miguel Christek.
Okay. And Mr. Christek, can you tell us about your variance request?
Yes, I've been here about, I'm building a deck on my backyard, and now they asked me for make some another plans to make sure everything is in order. So I submit already all the plans, and now I'm here to see
Okay.
if everything's fine.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Well, if you can have a seat on the front row, please, and Joey Stobbs from Community Development will be making comments about your item.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2 with Community Development. Mr. Christek came before the board in February regarding this request. The board asked for additional information on the site, more specific items to be shown on the survey, and Mr. Christek supplied that to our department, showing all of the manholes, sewer easements, stream buffers, impervious setbacks. That's been shown now, and there are no issues that we're aware of that would cause any problems with what he's proposed. In general, what he's proposed is to remodel the deck in the backyard. It's already, there's a non-conforming deck at the subject property because it encroaches into the impervious buffer and then the 50-foot stream buffer. What Mr. Christek has proposed is to rearrange the deck so there's less impact in the immediate city stream buffer, and has shifted it outside of those buffers as much as possible. So it's an improvement to the existing non-pristine, non-conforming deck that's already there. We've reviewed the request and heard no complaints from adjacent properties. We've recommended approval with just 2 conditions. That approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted. 2, issuance of a building permit is contingent upon the submittal of a stormwater management and buffer restoration plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer.
Okay, any questions for our staff?
Joey, so the 2 conditions that you just read into record. The second one that deals with the moving forward, the requirement for the stormwater management and buffer restoration plan. Have you had those conversations with the applicant that those things, will need to be worked through with the city engineer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Christak, for the record, do you state the two conditions as stated? Okay. Any other questions? No. All right, this is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to allow encroachment into the city 50-foot undisturbed buffer and 75-foot impervious setback, 0.50 acres, land lot 626, 1747 Cedar Ridge Court, and with the two stipulations. Stipulation 1, approval is conditioned upon the substantial compliance with a site plan that is actually dated 4/5/17 and submitted with the variance application, and issuance of the building permit is contingent upon the submittal of a stormwater management and buffer restoration plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17008. All in favor, please vote. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17029, feet to 28 feet for an addition to a single-family residence, 0.487 acres, land lot 599, 3498 Vinings North Trail. Zachary Strayer is the applicant. Good morning. And for the record, can you state your name?
Yes, I'm Michael Hatcher, and I'm representing Mr. Strayer.
Okay, and what relation?
I'm a builder.
Okay, all right. And can you tell us about Mr. Strayer's variance request, please?
Yes, we're going to be removing an existing deck and replacing it with a sunroom in order to do so and expand it slightly. The way the lot is, the way the house is sitting on the lot requires a setback or a encroachment into the setback. And so we'll be expanding the existing structure by about 6 feet and requesting a variance for that.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Well, at this time, if you can have a seat on the front row, please, and Joey Stobbs from Community Development.
Applicant's requesting a variance at 3498 Vinings North Trail to allow reduction of rear setback from 35 feet to 28 feet for an addition to a single-family residence. This subject property is a corner lot. It's more of a square shape than the typical rectangle where there's more depth to the lot. This one does not have much depth. It's due to the position, the orientation of the house on the property, and the available building envelope. There's just not much area there to expand without encroaching a setback. So the proposal is to build a screened porch in the rear yard, and roughly less than 25% of that structure will encroach the rear setback. So it's not a great deal, but it is an encroachment. Given the unique shape of the lot and the existing orientation of the house, we've recommended approval with one condition, that approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted. We've not heard any complaints from the adjacent properties. We don't feel that this proposal will have any negative impact on the adjacent properties. So we've recommended approval.
Okay. Any questions for the staff? And for the applicant's representative, do you accept the conditions as stated? Okay. This is a public hearing. If anyone has any comments about this particular item, please step to the podium at this time. All right, seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-029 to allow reduction of rear setback from 30 residents, 0.487 acre land lot 599 located at 3498 Vinings North Trail for Zachary Strayer.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17029. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17032. Allow reduction of rear setback from 20 feet to 9.6 feet for a covered patio addition, 0.134 acres, land lot 520-1215 Hill Street. Joss Tannery is the applicant? Tannery, okay. And for the record, can you state your name, please?
It's Josh Tenery.
Okay. Please.
We're proposing building a covered porch structure attached to the back of the house and slightly increasing the existing patio from 14 feet wide to 18 and a half feet wide. And the covering would cover that enlarged patio.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, at this time, if you can just have a seat at the front row, please, and our Joey Stobbs will be making comments.
Applicants requesting a variance at 1215 Hill Street to allow reduction of the rear setback from 20 feet to 9.6 feet. The subject property currently has a 14 by 12 foot patio, which is at grade, and is not subject to the rear setback because it's at grade. So the proposal to add a roof over it would be subject to the rear setback, thus requiring this reduction. The proposed roof structure will be 18.5 feet by 12 feet. So it'll extend the same 12 feet as the existing patio, but it'll be a little bit wider. To the rear of the subject property is the townhomes that are also part of Village Walk subdivision. There is an existing wooden privacy fence, and then there's existing evergreen shrubs that provide a buffer between those properties. And both rears are facing each property. So the rear of this property is adjoining to the rear of the townhome property. We don't believe there will be any negative impact if approved. This property has the same sort of issue as the previous variance. There's not much depth available to this property. It's a 0.134 acre lot. So given those constraints and the existing conditions of the property, we've recommended approval with two conditions that, and in addition, the applicant is proposing to mitigate even though he's not adding much impervious area, he's proposing to mitigate any impacts from impervious area by putting in some type of drain structure in the rear yard. So just to ensure that there will be no impacts to the adjacent properties. So we've recommended approval with two conditions. One, approval is subject, the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted. And two, applicant will implement stormwater management best management practices subject to the approval of the city engineer to ensure adjacent properties are not adversely impacted.
Any questions for the staff? And Mr. Tenery, for the record, do you accept the two conditions as stated? Okay. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion 3-2, allow reduction of the rear setback from 20 feet to 9.6 feet for a covered patio addition, 0.134 acres. Line lot 520, 1215 Hill Street, with the two conditions that were read into the record by staff.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17032. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17027, allow reduction of driveway setback from 5 feet to 3 feet, 0.647 acres, land lot 557, 1408 Collier Drive, Margaret Shannon, George and Lisa Wanamaker. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Margaret Shannon.
Okay, all right. And then what is your relation to them?
I'm their designer.
Okay, all right. And for the record, can you tell us about your first variance request?
Currently, there's a driveway there that is not in compliance. It needs to be repaved. And so in order to repave it, we'd like to put it in compliance.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Shannon?
What makes it not in compliance?
It's already in the setback zone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're just repaving exactly where it is right now.
So it's existing non-compliant, and you don't intend, with the repaving of the driveway, you don't intend to increase its size?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, it looks like you're redesigning the driveway, putting a roundabout or a
Yeah, that's
turnaround.
separate, though.
Ma'am.
That's not part of this variance.
The other variance, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. So that's just showing the site plan of what we're doing. The variance is asking for the driveway that already exists there. We have a roundabout in the front that we're doing, but that's separate. This is just for the driveway that goes down to the garage in the back.
Okay.
There's already an existing garage down there and a carport in the rear part.
Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, all right. Can you have a seat on the front row, Ms. Shannon? And at this time, we'll have our staff, Joey Stobbs, make comments, please.
Applicant's requesting a variance for 1408 Collier Drive to reduce driveway setback from 5 feet to 3 feet. The existing driveway is almost a 0-foot setback currently. It goes right up to the property line. And this is the driveway on the east side of the property. The applicant is proposing to resurface the whole driveway, and they will add more separation to the into the setback, but due to the location of the house, they can't shift it over much more than what it is without making it too narrow to drive on. So they're proposing the minimum driveway width possible and shifting it over as much as they can to leave that 3 feet of separation, where currently there's 0. So given those circumstances and the constraints, we've recommended approval. And there are 2 conditions, but they generally apply to the second variance.
Okay. Any questions for the staff?
Joey, for the sake of the record, could you read those conditions into the
Yes.
minutes, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
They are, 1, approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. 2, issuance of a building permit is contingent upon the submittal of a stormwater management plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the first variance request? This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-027 to allow 0.647 acre land lot 557 located at 1408 Collier Drive. Margaret, Shannon, and George and Lisa Wanamaker as applicant, with the conditions as read into the record by staff.
Second.
And just for the record, Ms. Shannon, representing the applicants, do you accept the 2 conditions as stated?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second in regards to approving variance request V17027. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17 into city's 75-foot impervious setback, 0.647 acres, land lot 557, 1408 Collier Drive, Margaret, Shannon, George, and Lisa Wanamaker as the applicant. And if you can tell us about this second variance request, please.
Sure. Currently, the existing house is actually already in this buffer zone, and we're doing an addition that pretty much just attaches onto that area and works with the existing garage. We're expanding a little bit by about 3 feet in order, because we're doing a master suite, in order to make the master suite wide enough for them, and that's pretty much it. We're trying as best as possible to work with existing conditions of the house.
Any questions for the applicant?
Just on the site plan, just really, even if it's for the sake of my clarity, I understand the encroachment into the impervious buffer with regards to the structure, but it also appears, at least on the site plan that I'm looking at, is that this new half circle portion of the driveway also will encroach into the impervious buffer as well.
No, it should not. Should be okay.
Okay, I'm just looking at the site plan, and maybe staff can clear that up.
Oh, okay. We'll clear that up.
Okay, but
Yeah, we can clear it up.
what does that mean?
We won't have that happen.
Okay, so you're going to modify the site plan. Is that right?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Joey, Scott Stokes has a question for you.
So, and Roy pointed out this new driveway half circle thing going on here. What is that? What's the intent?
You'd have to ask the applicant the intent.
Like, so again, just for the sake of a better understanding for the board, is it both, where are the, into the impervious buffer, the length of the impervious buffer on the site plan as proposed, there are several areas where that impervious buffer will need to have the variance, right? So it's not just one encroachment, it's the same encroachment in essence in two different places. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the only thing about, and I'm making some assumptions here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that we're going to have a standard condition that is going to be built in substantial compliance with the site plan.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
but so if it is that the applicant wishes to modify the existing site plan for the sake of process, that's something that the modification, we can still keep that same condition, right, within substantial compliance, with the understanding that the applicant or the applicant's representative will continue to work with staff.
Correct. If the applicant were to modify the site plan, there would be less impact than
Right.
than we're already contemplating.
Right.
So we would have no issue with that.
Okay.
Well, you know, I understand the impact, and I understand that, you know, with variance, we got to have justification for it, and I see the justification for the house. The house is already in the setback, but, you know, you can't really do much about it if you want to add on to the house, and you know, we understand, you know, the rear of the driveway appears to be, or asphalt driveway appears to be all in the back is in it, and I understand all that. It's just the front is the problem I had a problem with, was where's the justification that says that there's a hardship here to push that into that 25-foot impervious buffer. So, Joey, I'm talking to you. So if you will, please modify your condition or your stipulation that it's not because we're not going to make I can't accept the motion that says in substantial compliance with the site plan.
I spoke with Eric Randall, the civil engineer, on this project, and part of the front, when I talked to him about doing that, was if we use something that's pervious, it should be fine. So I've also been working not just hand in hand with our planners, but also with the city engineer, Eric Randall, about it. So it's no problem, we need to shift it over, but I've also had discussions with him that if we use pervious material in that area, we should be fine. It was more the rear that we were in concern about. That's why we just have the two variances that were requested.
I've got a problem that we don't have. Where's that in the documents, Joey?
Where's what?
What the applicant just mentioned? Where is that in what I'm reading here?
That the city engineer has reviewed it and
it's going to be impervious. It's going to be pervious. Where is that?
I don't have that because that wasn't conveyed to me.
We could just, we could add it as part of the condition.
It was my understanding that the narrowness of the existing driveway, this addition would allow it would help turnarounds because of the narrowness of the current driveway. That was the purpose for adding this additional driveway area.
So I've got a question for the applicant. If you've heard in the previous variance applications, you know, before yours was called, what we consider to be a standard stipulation, typically the first one is that the applicant do their project in substantial compliance with the application that they've submitted.
Right.
Right. So would you be comfortable with that, with an additional comment to that, to include, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, to include a modification of the proposed half-circle driveway that would not impede into the impervious buffer?
I think that should be fine. I haven't been able to see exactly, you know, the whole site, if we can make that work. I do remember, though, having a conversation with Eric Randall about being able to use pervious material, and that has never come up as an issue.
And therein lies the issue that we have.
Yeah.
You know, that we can't make a decision off of hypothetical what-if scenarios. Our job is to ensure, to the best of our ability, that our city ordinances and you know, that are upheld, you know, with allowable variances, which is why we're here. So another option would be to table the item until the next license and variance meeting, which is in 2 weeks, to allow submission or modifications to the site plan so that we could make decisions based off of
Could we do two conditions? One is we shift it over and work with them about not having in the impervious area, and or if Eric Randall approves having pervious there, then we're okay.
Well, and that was really my first question, was if that it was read into record that the first condition, the built-in substantial compliance to the site plan, to include a modification of the existing site plan with regard to the half-circle driveway and working with the city engineer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Sure, that way. Okay, thank
Did
you.
I answer? Is that
Yes.
okay?
You okay with that?
Good morning.
Morning, I'm the homeowner.
Okay.
And I have a
And
question.
can you state your name, please?
Sure, Lisa Wanamaker. I have a question and a comment. The reason we want a circular driveway is that it is dangerous to back out onto Collier Drive. You can't, because of the topography of the property and the vegetation around the stream, you can't see. So we really need a circular driveway to be able to get people safely in and out.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand what the objection is. Is it the fact that the circular driveway goes into the buffer, or because that wasn't in the variance request?
No, and I think, and I appreciate your comments, and I think you're right. It's not a safe thing backing out on Collier. At least I can only speak for myself, but I don't have an issue with the circular driveway. I'm trying to discuss possibilities to lessen the impact of additional impervious surface. So as you well know, we have a lot of impervious surface here in the city of Smyrna. We don't have woods anymore because we paved all of them, and that's okay. But we can contemplate ways that we can come to a win-win solution, and then that you can have what you need to be able to get in and out of your driveway safely, and also lessen big paved areas. So it might be, and I'm not the city engineer, but it could be, as your representative has stated, that you could contemplate this circular driveway with a surface that allows water to seep through, that's more pervious. Or it's possible you could maintain a circular driveway for safety and lessen the impact into the impervious buffer possibilities. So for myself, we don't have an issue with it. We're trying to find that least impactful solution.
So just to make sure I understand, if the circular driveway didn't hit the buffer, then there's no jurisdiction of this commission, right? This committee.
Joey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that would be correct. Because what we're contemplating, and the variance, is to allow encroachment into the impervious setback. So hypothetically, if the lot were wider, then there probably would not be an encroachment, therefore there would not be the need for a variance.
Okay.
But that is not the case. This is the case.
So I guess that's the question, Maggie. Do we know? Is the lot wide enough to not have an encroachment? Okay.
Well, and that's what, and just please understand that the only way that we can make decisions is based off of fact. And fact for us are those things that are included within the application packet. So site plan, details, measurements, those kind of things. And it's an uncomfortable and really unfair situation for the panel to contemplate whether or not it should be granted or not without absolutes in front of us. We don't like to say, yes, you can have this variance based off of, some thing that may or may not happen, right?
Sure. No, I understand, and I'm not trying to be argumentative at all.
Right.
I mean, I'm just, we didn't come in and tear the old house down and build it from scratch, and we're really trying to save the integrity of that house and the lot, and it's a beautiful lot.
Yes.
So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I understand what the issue was, and I'm going to defer to Maggie on what we need to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not that I really want Rusty Martin, senior
Thank you.
planner, community development. Not that I really want to jump into this, but you guys can remember if you want to add the stipulation that they pull the driveway out of the impervious surface area and allow them to design that later, if they can't meet that, then they have to meet the required ordinance, which will mean they can provide a turnaround, or they can provide some kind of other design at the front to be able to provide a turnaround to pull out head first. I don't think this is, I'm not really concerned about this whole, not being feasible, or whether or not we can address the issue of turning out onto the street. We can, if the issue is there's not enough justification for the encroachment into the stream buffer variance, and that driveway needs to be relocated somewhere else, or if you guys are acceptable with the use of a different with a pervious material, then that's fine. But I think we can work around the design of a driveway at the staff level if you need to, and if they can't make that design work, then they've got to comply with the existing ordinance.
And that's precisely where I was going with my question of, in addition to the first stipulation, if I were to add a second sentence to that first stipulation, that, and that's because it's not the responsibility of this board to find the absolute solution for the applicants, but I'm trying to find a way that we can keep this moving forward for the applicant, but also ensure that through working with staff that some type of a solution is met. So
if this was with an actual structure or home, I would be more inclined to say, yeah, let's get definitive facts. But a driveway is, you're able to design it and move it around to make it work. Yeah. I think it's something that we can handle at a staff level if you guys are comfortable with that.
Okay, so while you're up here, Rusty, I'm contemplating this addition to the first stipulation, and it would be worded something like, and additionally, the applicant will continue to work with city staff to redesign or remodify either the surface of the driveway or the location of the driveway to lessen the impact into the impervious buffer, something like that. Because the reality is, it could encroach the impervious buffer and have as designed and have less impact if the surface material were different, hypothetically.
Right.
Right. So.
But the variance request is whether or not you're going to allow that encroachment into the stream buffer.
Right.
The material you're proposing to use is going to allow water to infiltrate at a much lesser
I guess my intent would be, my intent to add on to a stipulation, or to add a stipulation, would just be to acknowledge the fact that moving forward, the applicant and the applicant's representative is going to continue to work with city staff to address it.
Okay.
That would be the intent, and not to hamstring either party into one particular direction or the other.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want an improvement on what's currently proposed, yeah, we can work that out.
I would like to see something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff or either the applicant? Any other comments from the applicant? Okay. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak, go ahead.
I want to make one comment.
Okay.
In stormwater or stream buffer issues, it's my understanding our department is responsible for the process, but for the interpretation and enforcement, it's the city engineer's office that really oversees that ordinance. So when an applicant has already talked with the city engineer and worked out details, I don't feel like it's my duty to carry it forward to the board, but not have every answer for, all the intricacies of that ordinance, because I can't.
Right.
So the applicant had provided a bioretention area that they're adding on the property that would mitigate all of the new improvements to the site, plus the existing non-conforming parts of the site. And so with that being part of the proposal, whether there's a defined hardship or not, I was confident that the city engineer had contemplating these issues, and that the conceptual stormwater management area would accommodate all of that, all of the improvements to the site. So.
Sure. And I'm sure you're on track with that. Probably is going to end up being the solution, you know. So, and I'm not sure if we talked about this, but the second stipulation, as recommended by staff, is that the issuance of a building permit is contingent upon the submittal of a stormwater management plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer. So they're even adding, you know, to the first stipulation, it, in essence, all is traveling down the same path. And believe me when I say we never intended to overcomplicate this issue, but again, for the sake of our due diligence, we want to ensure that these things continue to happen. So I hope you understand.
This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I would like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-028 to allow the encroachment within city's 75-foot impervious setback at 0.64 acre land lot 557 located at 1408 Collier Drive for Margaret, Shannon, and George and Lisa Wanamaker with the following conditions. Condition 1, approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application, and that the applicant will continue to work with the city engineer for potential solutions to the half-circular portion that's represented on the existing site plan. And 2, that the issuance of a building permit is contingent upon the submittal of a stormwater management plan that meets the requirements of the city engineer.
Second.
And for Ms. Shannon, do you accept the revised stipulation as stated for number 1?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17028. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Hearing variance request V17030. Structure in rear yard, 0.36 acres, land lot 455, 3671 Wisteria Lane. Matthew Middleton is the applicant. Mr. Middleton, can you step to the podium, please? And also state your name.
My name is Matthew Middleton. I'm the owner and design professional.
Okay, all right. And can you tell us about your first variance request?
First variance, as I have an existing swing set with 2 swings and a slide on the property, and because I'm going to be adding an additional storage barn on the property, I'm seeking that variance. But I do want to state at this time, I had a phone conversation with Rusty Martin that there would also be a discussion point as to the validity of the interpretation of this ordinance. I don't know if we can do that during this hearing, but I was told by Rusty Martin on a phone call, and I've documented that in an email and introductory letter to him, which has not been disputed, that I had the right to discuss that interpretation during this hearing.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, and yeah, I think that you do have the right to, so would your dispute be that, what would your dispute be?
Okay. I do not believe that a swing set with 2 swings and a slide should be interpreted as an accessory structure or use.
Okay.
I have 2 pages of written discussion points on that was included in your packages.
Mm-hmm. So, and we have pictures of it, of what's been deemed to this point as an accessory structure. And, you know, obviously, you know, to determine what is and what is not an accessory structure has some subjectivity involved.
I
right?
agree.
So you're correct in your description that it's a swing set with 2 swings and a slide. It also is a swing set with 2 swing sets and a slide that's on a soft surface pad surrounded by brick patios as well.
Okay.
I don't know that that we would be able to debate whether it is or whether it isn't, and the intricacies involved on both sides successfully here today. Personally, I lean towards the recommendation of staff. They're the professionals, if you will, the subject matter experts on this. And I hope that you can understand that from a city's perspective, they would have to lean towards the thing that protected the city the most. Nevertheless, it is that item J that we're talking about now is a variance that would allow you to do what you want to do.
Yes, sir.
To have this storage structure in the back. So I guess really, I hear your question as to whether or not this existing swing set and the things that surround it are an accessory structure or not. But I would kind of lean to you. How far do you want to debate this back and forth? Because, we could debate it all day long, but the reality is we've got this variance request in front of us that is associated with a recommendation from staff to approve it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I do understand that.
Yeah.
I am only going off of my original conversation with Mr. Martin, okay, that I would be allowed to discuss this. I was hoping that you guys would take the time and effort to read the 2 pages of discussion points that I prepared for this in advance. Okay, I have made several valid arguments that this swing set structure is not an accessory structure. Now, if you guys are going to choose not to debate that, I understand. I know that there is a formal process for that, and I was advised of that, and I would have gone through that process in advance. But again, I was told by Mr. Martin that we could discuss this. I still do not believe that a swing set is an accessory structure by the interpreted definition of the zoning ordinance. I have written the zoning ordinance within that 2-page discussion point for you guys' evaluation. Again, I do appreciate that staff is willing to move this one forward through the variance, but again, I'm stating for the record, I do not believe that a swing set is the proper interpretation of that specific zoning ordinance.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure we do have your information in our packet.
I have the original package that was given 7 copies, hard copies to staff, and I have it here, and I would be glad to turn it over for your review.
Is that under the application, Joey? Okay. I see a 38-page.
Exhibits?
Okay.
Yeah.
There was an introductory letter. The commentary on this particular zoning ordinance would have been in green by me, and I have in black italics the specific zoning ordinances.
Okay, we have it.
We do have that document here. Okay.
Did you review it prior to this hearing?
I have not.
No.
No.
Yeah, I did not get a chance to look at the 38-page document. I did not. What you want to, Joey, would you like to make comments from the staff perspective on this particular item?
Sure. The applicant's requesting a variance at 3671 Wisteria Lane for an additional accessory structure in the rear yard. There's not much to add. We've taken the strict interpretation of the ordinance and the definition supplied that the playset is an accessory structure or use, only as a means of acknowledging it on record that this use or structure exists, but that we're also recommending approval of the additional structure. Just because for precedent, we feel like it's in the city's interest to acknowledge this as a structure, because how do we define when what's a structure and what's not? If it's 3 slides, is that a structure? If there's, it's too gray. So rather than, we've taken the approach to acknowledge it, take the strict application, but still allow the additional structure in the rear yard. And so we have, we've recommended approval with just one condition, that the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted.
Any questions for the staff?
Just more of a comment. I mean, the fact that you guys, in the performing of your duties and responsibilities, apply, as you stated, I believe, the strictest interpretation of the code. I believe that that's your job to do that. So, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
It was stated by Mr. Stobbs that there was a hard definition not to interpret what is a swing set versus a PlayStation. Again, I have addressed that particular point within my discussion points on the two-page document that I provided you, just so you guys can be aware. Again, I do want to reiterate, I appreciate the staff's work on this, and I appreciate that their recommendation for approval. Mr. Stobbs did not state one of the reasons during the exceptional circumstances. I do have an odd-shaped triangular lot. Again, that's also in my package under the exceptional circumstances, which does crowd the lot to have that many structures in the backyard. And I do have a site plan that demonstrates all of the things that
And we have a copy of that. And then, what you've referenced is you have to demonstrate, in order for us to grant a variance, the applicant, one of the things they have to demonstrate is a hardship.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, without the appropriate demonstration of a hardship, there would not be a recommendation for approval of any variance from staff.
Okay.
They would recommend that we deny. And that's not the case here. The recommendation from staff is that we approve variance request J to allow this additional accessory structure. So really, that's the agenda item that we should be contemplating, whether or not you can have this structure in the back of your yard so that you can have a storage shed. Again, we haven't taken a vote, there hasn't been a motion, but the staff recommendation is that we approve that because it's met those variance standards, one of which is the hardship.
Yes, sir.
And then this is something that we've done before, so a precedence has already been set. Is that right, Mr. Stobbs? We've allowed accessory.
Do you have,
okay.
Mr. Stobbs, do you have a list of those exceptional circumstances that have been approved in the past? Now, I'm not asking for it on hand, but can it be provided?
Yes.
Thank you.
Since there's a discussion about whether something is an accessory structure, a structure, or whatever, let me read you guys the definition based on our zoning code, and y'all can make your opinion as to whether or not something is a structure. Based on section 402.56 of the zoning ordinance, structure is defined as anything constructed on or erected, the use of which requires a location on the ground or attached to something having a location on the ground, including but not limited to tennis courts, fences, swimming pools, and buildings. If we go back to accessory use or structures, let me get there for you. It says, for accessory building or use, a use or a structure subordinate to the principal use or building on a lot and serving a purpose customarily incidental to the use of the principal building, provided any such structure is built within or after the construction of the principal building. Where an accessory structure is attached to the main building in a substantial manner, as by a wall or a roof, such accessory structure shall be considered as part of the main building. I think those two definitions are pretty clear as to the understanding of whether or not this swing set is subordinate to the principal building, the house, and it is a structure a built structure that is placed on top of the ground. From a staff perspective, I don't think we can make any other interpretation other than it is an accessory structure. We understand everything else that's going on with regards to the property, and we are supportive of the additional accessory structure. I don't know that this debate is really warranted other than we support what Mr. Middleton wants to do, and we've.
Well, and I appreciate you highlighting that, which was kind of the summation of my point. We don't have, this agenda item that we're on now is not a formal appeal to determine whether or not this is an accessory structure. Personally, I happen to agree with staff that with the way that the ordinance is written, that this qualifies as an accessory structure. My question is that really the point? The agenda item that we're hearing is whether or not you can have an additional accessory structure. And I'd like for us to focus on that. Again, with respect to you, the applicant, please don't misunderstand. I don't want you to feel like as though you're unheard or being dismissed in any way. I'm trying to move this forward.
Yes, sir. And I will belay any further commentary. I will finalize this, that every point that Rusty has made, I've made a counterpoint within my written discussion points. I would be glad to go over those verbally, but Fire Chief, I am going to belay any further commentary and accept the graciousness of this variance board and the acceptance of staff's approval for this variance request. But I would encourage everyone to read my written commentary.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-3-030 allowed land lot 455 3671 Wisteria Lane.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variant request V17030. All in favor, please vote. And just for the record, I want to make sure, Mr. Middleton, that you accept the one condition as stated.
Please, can you please repeat the condition, please?
Approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
Thank you. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V17031, allow side setback reduction from 10 feet to 3 feet for an accessory structure, 0.36 acres, land lot 455 3671 Wisteria Lane. Matthew Middleton is the applicant. Got any additional questions or comments about this one?
My name is Matthew Middleton, and I'm the owner. The variance request is for the side yard setback, or the rear side yard setback is 10 feet, and I'm requesting it be reduced to 3 feet.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Stobbs.
Applicant's requesting a feet for the accessory structure. The subject property is it's an unusual shape, and the house is angled in such a way that it's just an unusually shaped lot.
So the hardship is the triangular shape to the back portion of the lot.
Exactly.
Right, so.
And so the applicants requested the reductions to have the shed more to the side and not to be in the middle of the rear yard for various reasons, but the main factor is the shape of the lot.
Okay. Any questions for the staff?
And there's the one standard condition, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Middleton, do you accept that one standard condition as stated?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If anyone has any comments about this item, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Seeing no one, I would like to entertain a motion, please.
Motion to approve variance request V17-031 to allow side setback reduction from 10 to 3 feet for an accessory structure, 0.36 acre land lot 455 located at 3671 Wisteria Lane for Matthew Middleton.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V17031. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Middleton. Next item is approval of the minutes from the May 24th, 2017 License and Variance Board meeting.
Motion to approve the variance board minutes from May 24, 2017.
Second.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the May 24th, 2017 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 11:17 a.m. Thank you.